I think it's a really bizarre choice from the BBC to award Barbra Banda the Women's Footballer of the Year. It's obviously going to spark controversy, especially that it was just 2 years ago that she failed to meet the gender eligibility rules to even compete because her levels of testosterone were just extraordinarily high. However, I do feel sorry for her in this case because it's not like she was born a male and she's changed her sex and she's wanting to compete in female sports. I'm all for, getting men out of female sports, keeping it safe. But it's not really her fault that she has these extraordinarily high levels of testosterone. I do understand that she had the choice to take medication to bring the level of testosterone back down. She didn't want to do that for medical reasons or the risk of side effects, and that's her choice as well. But, if she's an athlete, she's obviously good at what she does and she wants to play, it's not her fault that the BBC wanted to award her this award.
Well,
it's not, Joe, but it was just October this year that we were all talking about the fact that even the UN had handed down a report which found hundreds of women had missed out on heaps of medals. Over 600 female athletes in more than 400 competitions, this report said by the UN, lost more than 890 medals in 29 different sports. And that's not just speaking of trans women competing with women. That is speaking of these athletes that do have an insane advantage over the capacity of an average sporting woman due to having DSD.
Yeah, look, I get that, but I kind of think I'm a bit with Gab on this one. I mean, what she's supposed to do, it's the way that she was born. She is accepting the biology she was born with.
It's a matter of fairness.
But is it? I mean, some people get born and they're 7 foot tall and they make fantastic basketballers and they're going to kick my little white tush every time on the court.
I don't think anyone's arguing that it's Barbra's fault. I think all eyes are on the national broadcaster saying, why out of all the remarkable women footballers we have, would you choose someone who's failed a sex test?
Well, I think we know why and we're talking about it. I think they did it.
They want the headlines.
They clearly did it deliberately to sort of show that they were right on the cutting edge of,
we're so
look how courageous we are. Look how, cool we are. And obviously, the BBC would have known that it is, after all, a media organisation. They would have known that this would cause a bit of controversy. It gives a huge amount of publicity for their award and also makes them look like they're kind of, at the vanguard of, trans inclusion or whatever. But again, she's not even trans. So I don't understand what she's supposed to do. This is the thing that I don't. I don't think
it's on her at all. Like I say, no one's actually.
But if she can compete,
Barbra,
then she can get the award. Either she's not eligible for the award.
And do you think that's fair that the BBC, the national broadcaster, decided out of all the other females who would have to work twice as hard to compete as well as Barbra, miss out on the award?
Well, I suppose the BBC it's their award, they can give it to whoever they want. I think the question is whether or not women with higher levels of testosterone should be able to play women's sport. And then the question becomes, should women who were born biological males be allowed to play sport? And then the question comes, does there have to be some kind of testosterone or estrogen level to be met?
And across the board as well, because when she wasn't allowed to play in 2022, that was when the standard was much higher than it is to even compete in the Olympics. So she was allowed to compete in the Olympics. Yeah, right. So, it should probably be.
It's the same. That's right. It's the same with the boxer.
Why has the standard dropped? Why is this suddenly okay and seen as something that ought to be celebrated? Yay! It turns out all the best sportswomen are men or someone with DSD. I think J.K. Rowling, infamous women's rights advocate, I think she summed it up well in her tweet today. She said, presumably the BBC decided this was more time efficient than going door to door to spit directly in women's faces. Well said, I say.
Yeah,
staying in the UK now.
Good point, J.K. Rowling. I have to say, I normally back her on most cases, especially when she gets hit by trans activists, saying the most horrific, vicious things to try and take her down. So, but on this case, I'm not 100% sure I agree. But I think when people are trying to do so much to protect women in sports, it's just kind of a really provocative choice, I guess, by the BBC.
Absolutely, and I don't think it's fair whatsoever.